If these words have reached you today, pause for a moment. Do not rush past them. Slow down your thoughts and take a deep breath. Not because these words themselves carry power, but because reminders only benefit hearts that are willing to be present. Allah tells us that reminders are for those who reflect. And right now, you are listening. You are paying attention. That alone is a moment of awareness, and awareness itself is a gift from Allah. Life reaches moments where the heart feels unsettled, not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly heavy, a weight you cannot fully explain, a pressure in the chest that comes and goes, a sense that something inside you is no longer comfortable with how things are. The routines that once distracted you now feel empty. The things that once satisfied you feel temporary. The noise of the world no longer fills the silence inside. And this discomfort does not mean something is wrong with you. Sometimes it means your heart is waking up after a long period of distraction. Many people fear this stage because it feels uncertain. Humans love certainty. We like plans. We like timelines. We like knowing what comes next. We feel safe when we can predict outcomes. But uncertainty is often where growth begins. Before Allah changes a person's situation, He often changes their attachment. Before ease arrives, awareness arrives. Before direction becomes clear, comfort is disturbed. This stage is not automatically punishment. Very often, it is mercy disguised as discomfort. When Allah delays something you want, it is not always rejection. Sometimes it is protection. If something had come too early, it might have harmed your faith, weakened your reliance on Allah, or distracted you from your ultimate purpose. Allah knows what our hearts are not yet ready to carry. He knows when a blessing would become a burden. He knows when something we desire would pull us further from Him rather than closer. And so He withholds, not out of cruelty, but out of wisdom and care. Delays are heavy. They test patience. They exhaust the soul. They make people question themselves. They make people question their worth. They make people wonder if they are forgotten. But delays also purify intention. They separate those who worship Allah only for outcomes from those who worship Him even when outcomes are unclear. What feels like silence is not absence. Allah is never unaware. He is never distant. When you do not see movement, it does not mean nothing is happening. You see closed doors. Allah may see protection. You see rejection. Allah may see redirection. You see loss. Allah may see removal of harm. Not every hardship is meant to break a person. Some hardships are meant to reposition them. Allah does not prepare people He intends to abandon. He prepares those He intends to refine. A plan that collapsed, a relationship that ended, an opportunity that disappeared. These moments are painful, but they are not automatically failures. Sometimes Allah removes something before it damages your heart, your faith, or your future in ways you cannot yet see. Think carefully about this. How often do people look back and realize that what they once cried over was actually what saved them? At the moment, it felt unbearable. At the moment, it felt unfair. At the moment, it felt like loss. But later, clarity arrived. Understanding followed. Allah's wisdom became visible with time. This is why patience is not passive. Patience is active trust. It is choosing not to turn away even when the path feels unclear. Often distractions are removed before clarity arrives. Noise fades before understanding forms. Comfort is shaken before growth settles in, and this is the stage where many people leave. They numb the discomfort with distractions. They drown awareness with entertainment. They silence reflection because it feels heavy. But the ones who stay present, who remain patient, who continue turning back to Allah, those are the ones who benefit from what comes next. This middle stage is uncomfortable. You are no longer who you used to be, but you are not yet who you will become. You are between certainty and trust, between old habits and new awareness. between fear and reliance, and this space feels unstable. But it is also fertile. Growth happens here. Hearts are reshaped here. Intentions are purified here. What may come next in your life may not look like what you once asked for, but that does not mean it is worse. Allah's wisdom is not limited by our imagination. What He chooses for a believer, when met with patience and trust, carries goodness, even if that goodness takes time to reveal itself. Sometimes the gift is not a change in circumstances, but a change in the heart that faces them. But here is the responsibility that cannot be ignored. Change does not happen without response. A person cannot remain the same inwardly and expect life to transform outwardly. When Allah opens awareness, He is inviting reflection. When He removes comfort, He is inviting return. When He delays, He is inviting trust. And every invitation requires a choice. Ask yourself honestly, without judgment, will I trust Allah when the path is unclear? Will I obey Him even when it feels difficult? Will I continue forward in faith instead of standing still in fear? Will I choose sincerity over shortcuts? Will I choose reliance over control? This is not about motivation. This is about alignment. Alignment between belief and action. Alignment between intention and behavior. Alignment between what the tongue says and what the heart holds. Alignment always comes before elevation. When intention is corrected, actions follow. When reliance deepens, direction becomes clearer. If these words stirred something within you, do not let it remain emotional only. Emotions fade. Intentions last. Let this moment turn into action. Increase your dua even if your words feel simple. Guard your prayers even when motivation feels low. Be mindful of what hardens your heart. Step away from what weakens your connection with Allah, and ask Allah sincerely to guide you to what is best, even if it is not what you expected. Understand this deeply. Allah does not burden a heart without knowledge of its strength. He does not test without wisdom. He does not guide without purpose. The awareness you feel now is not random. It is an invitation to grow closer, to soften, to realign, and to return before life forces the lesson more harshly. Before you leave, make a quiet intention, not for the sake of this message, not for any person, but for your own soul. Say it sincerely, even if only in your heart. Allah, guide me to what is best for me. Strengthen my faith when I feel weak. Protect my heart from what would harm it. And do not leave me to myself, even for a moment. Allah hears what is whispered. He knows what is hidden. He understands what you cannot put into words. And He responds in the way and time that carries the most wisdom, even when you do not yet understand it. May Allah grant us clarity without arrogance, patience without despair, trust without condition, and hearts that return to Him in every stage of life. And may every change in our lives become a means of drawing closer to Him, not further away.